we're getting better, but it's not getting easier.
It almost felt like our industry had been cursed by the conference gods, as it were.
I said, but we have a contract, we have to do it. No, it's going to be like this. And they told me, oh, you can start the conference at noon.
That sounds very French, to be honest. Why not start at noon? Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning into The Scoop. I'm your host, Frank Chaparro, and I'm very excited for this episode of the program. We have honestly, we've been working with these guys for several years. Paris Blockchain Week folks. And we have Michael Amar joining us on the other side of the mic. But before we dive in, we're going to talk about the venture landscape, crypto, and much more. But let's thank our sponsors.
Uranium.io, an entirely new marketplace for trading uranium and powered by Tezos technology, is live. As global energy demand rises and nuclear power becomes a key player in decarbonization, demand for U3O8 is increasing. But up until now, its access to retail investors has been limited. Unlike other precious metals like gold or silver, the traditional uranium market has high barriers with minimum lot sizes of tens of thousands of pounds that's limited retail participation. Tokenized uranium breaks these barriers, enabling anyone to own physical uranium with accessible pricing and no need for complex storage. Investing in uranium is now widely accessible, and you can learn more at www.uranium.io. For crypto and DeFi professionals looking to contribute to a team committed to innovation in digital assets, Fidelity Investments is now hiring. Why Fidelity? For starters, they've been exploring Bitcoin and blockchain since 2014. They were the first traditional asset manager to launch a native crypto business and among the first to launch a Bitcoin exchange-traded product. Innovation is in their DNA. Fidelity invests in their talents by supporting and developing associates through continued education opportunities, casual crypto-focused discussion groups, and on-the-job experience of working with new technologies. If you want to work on cutting-edge products and explore the new frontier of DeFi and blockchain, Fidelity is for you. Their products continue to improve and evolve, staying ahead of this rapidly changing digital asset landscape. So go ahead, explore Fidelity Crypto Careers today by going to crypto.fidelitycareers.com to learn more. That's crypto.fidelitycareers.com. Fidelity is an equal opportunity employer.
So, Michael, we've got a few more months until the big show, but obviously, I think most of our listeners are familiar with PBW, but they may not be as familiar with you. I was joking before we got the mics going that you've been in crypto since I think like 1987.
Feels like it for sure.
What's your origin story? Obviously, you guys, feel like if you're operating a conference business, you typically have got something else cooking in the background, whether it's a media company, a marketing PR firm, in your case, a venture operation. So folks may not know, you guys have a venture portfolio cooking as well. And I think that makes sense because a lot of the DNA of PBW is startup competitions, getting VCs in the room, mixing capital with startups. But what's your origin story, Michael? How'd you get into the game?
So my origin story, you weren't far because I actually started in blockchain before blockchain. So the quick funny story, I would say, is that if you remember in 2009, Facebook had already a token. It wasn't Libra, it was Facebook credits. It allowed you to play those crazy games like Farmville and others, right? You remember?
Yes.
So one day I saw that the people playing Zynga games, the Farmville, it was 43-year-old woman, 2 kids. It was not like the weird 15-year-old teenager. And that was kind of striking me. So I was one day at Facebook just visiting. I lived in Palo Alto at the time. And I said, yeah, I have an idea. Why don't we use digital currencies to incentivize people to purchase or to do any marketing action? Then a guy tapped on my shoulder, an Indian guy, telling me, listen, I don't know you, but Facebook just released its first token, Facebook Credits. We had no clue on how to use it. If you create an incentivization platform, I'll give you full exclusivity. You will be the only company outside of Facebook doing it. I told him, but I don't know you. He told me, try me. I did. And after 3 months, we've raised $20 million back in 2009 to create the first incentivization platform where people could, buy at the Gap or at Walmart and get instantly Facebook credit, direct deposit, direct API, high perceived value. Rings a bell, right? It was like tokens, definitely. And I saw the impact. Click-through rate, conversion rate, everything was like 10x because people wanted this instead of clicking 4 hours to get a freaking cow, right?
Did you play Farmville? Michael?
I had to for work. So I saw that digital currencies can really move the needle in everything marketing very early on. Then one of my good friends, David Marcus, and he tried to explain to me Bitcoin around 2014. I half understood, so I didn't, went all in. But I moved back to France in 2017, and it's when I decided to go full time. And I've launched an accelerator for blockchain projects. So we've helped like 70 projects. And while doing so, I tried to attract some of the big US and Asian companies. But everyone was making fun of me. Come on, Michael, like Paris is good for the food, for fashion, for the woman, but not for crypto. And I heard this like 1, 5, 10 times. It kind of pissed me off, to be honest. And then with some young friends, we decided to, okay, let's do an event to show that there's a local ecosystem. And that's really like a pet project that we did because we were kind of nervous that nobody was considering us. So that's the infancy with our first event in 2019.
And how has it evolved? Obviously, one of the challenges, right, with operating an events business is that it's so cyclical, right? So I feel like in the good years, you kind of have to think about how the bad years might be just right around the corner to an extent, because obviously a lot of it's contingent on the marketing budget on the firms that sponsor. So, you kind of have to, you have to have a long-term view, right? Because each year is going to be so different.
So you're right, but in our space, what I like is that the low is not that low, right? If you remember, I'm old enough. I've lived through the bubble in 2000. It was dead. It was nothing, like no pulse, right? Nothing. Here, even in a bear market, you still have the blockchain, the exchanges, the custodian. You have some people that are the roots of this economy that are still alive and doing stuff and building stuff. And so they have also to show it, and they have to go to conferences. But on one hand, you're totally right. So, from the low, which is not zero, that we have, we have to be agile. For example, when NFT was the big thing, like 2 years ago, then we did an NFT day, right? Now it's no longer we killed the NFT day, but now Bitcoin is a big thing. We've just launched our Bitcoin Investor Day, and AI agent is a big thing. We're doing the first Agent X summit dedicated on agent. So basically, you need to be agile. And even in a market that is, you always find an angle because it's a 360, thing. When brands are no longer here, I would say entrepreneurs no longer here, then you have the builders and vice versa. So it's basically being agile. And also a huge believer that the underlying technology and vision is there and it's going to stay and it's going to move the needle for a lot of people.
Not just you, but generally, if you're going to have a conference and it's going to be good, it's going to capture the topics du jour, as it were, the zeitgeist of what's happening. Obviously, when NFTs completely fall off the cliff, in 2022, it's easy to decide maybe in that following year that let's not pay too much attention to these things. But how do you in the roles that you have sort out what's important and what's not?
So it's actually pretty easy in the sense that we're in this space. It's not just our job; it's our passion. Thank you. We read news when even we are not working about it, so we're constantly looking and thinking, and so we live through the ups and downs and the agility of this ecosystem. So we are the ecosystem in the sense that there's no limit between our our job and our being. So that's one thing. So obviously we read the blog, we read everything. We're on crypto Twitter all the time, too much, obviously. But that's the one thing, right? Because if you're not passionate and you just say, okay, today is an agriculture conference, tomorrow is a real estate conference, and the next day is the blockchain, doesn't work. We have people that love it, are passionate, are involved, have money in crypto. So basically that's one thing. And the second thing is that we're talking obviously with our speakers, right? So it's a lot of work because we have 400 speakers, but we do an onboarding with every one of them. And also a debrief with most of them to understand, okay, what's the topic? For example, last year I was talking with Eric and Zani and I was asking him, okay, next year, how do you see things? What's going to be your interest? He told me, Jeremy earlier told me the same thing. To me, I spent 20-25% of my time on AI. And already a year ago, Eric told me, I want to be the agent, the payment agent in between two agents, right? So he already had the vision a year ago. So when such, important person in our ecosystem kind of tells you the same thing, then say, okay, there is something here. So listening to our partner sponsors and obviously our big speakers.
We never had a conference organizer on the show, but it's obviously kind of, we'll address the elephant in the room, which is that our industry, and I think you'll appreciate this, Michael, is almost lambasted for the number of events that we have, the number of conferences that are ongoing. It's kind of like a big meme, right? Like, are we ever doing anything, or are we just attending conferences every day? I want to unpack that meme. Is there any truth to it? And I don't know, as an event organizer, like, do you ever think, yeah, there are a lot of conferences. How do I sort of navigate that?
Yeah, no, that's true. So you need to be relevant, but also we have some things that created our brand. First time I've created 10 businesses. I think that's the first time I created a brand. And what's good with our brand is that it's associated to one thing, which is premium in everything we try to do. So it's in the Louvre, hard to beat that. It's called champagne, good champagne. So food is included. It's pretty amazing experience. And it's very international. It's over 80% international. And we are super business focused. So I'm not an event organizer by nature or by training or whatever, but all my businesses have done them and leveraged the conferences over the world. And so it's more as an attendee. And I try to build this conference as the conference I wanted to have when I was attending or sponsoring one. So the main thing is that you need to make sure there's ROI for your clients. So meaning they meet the right people, they get the funding they want to get, they do the partnership, they find the clients. So we're very, very ROI driven. We try to understand the need of the sponsors. And it's also for the attendees that whatever you need, you're raising funds, you're looking for an internship, you're doing, you want to do a partnership with someone, then basically if you work hard doing this week, you're going to find the people that matters to you. Or the content, right? Because we're also, we have the main event, which is April 8, 9, 10. So it's 5 weeks almost. And then we have those niche events. We have an RWA Voyage event. We have a DPN event. And we have this Bitcoin and agent event. So we try also to tailor it to make sure that in the B2B space, at least in our space, you will find something that makes a difference in your year.
Obviously there's a lot that goes into it, and sometimes there's stuff that's outside of your control. Like, I'm sure you remember the Token 2049 Dubai event where they just had that unbelievable rain, and it almost felt like our industry had been cursed by the conference gods, as it were. What do you think is the most challenging, and sort of, be as candid as possible? I'm sure there are a lot of challenges, but what can really kind of, what was the crap moment that you've had akin to?
So shit always happen, like always. It's not a matter of, it's a matter of when and what type. And so it's the thing that you don't see. So there's so much planification. So the team is 30 people all year long, just for 1 week, right? If you think about it. And I think
I know I was asking one of your team members. I don't remember if it was Nat or Jessica. I was like, so what do you do when you're not doing this? And they're like, no, this is I think it was Jessica. This is a full-time job,
Yeah, it's a full-time job, 30 people. And I think if you look at our Monday.com, we shouldn't be far from 10,000 tasks. to execute the conference, which is crazy. So it's all these details, but there's things you cannot see. 2 years ago, it was, we had to shift some booths, perhaps 100 booths, from one night to the other. But then the organizer of the venue said, "Oh, I'm going to cut the electricity because the Paris mayor wants to do some work, so you won't be able to do." I said, "But we have a contract, you have to do it." No, it's going to be like this. And I was saying, "What are going to do?" And they told me, "Oh, you can start the conference at noon." So yeah, so you have to fight. We were
That sounds very
able
French, to be honest. Sounds very French.
It is.
Why not start at noon?
Yeah, or year one, we're doing our VIP dinner to open the conference. We had Notre Dame on fire, and everybody thought it was a terrorist attack. So that was quite of intense too. And then every year we have our stories.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What about in terms of like, so that's kind of like, obviously there'll be logistical headaches or very Parisian specific impediments. Do you have the sort of, I mean, when I think about it, it's like, getting the right partners, getting the right, selling the tickets. Does that stuff get easier as you sort of get more established? You talk about this idea of like building a brand and the essential aspect of that. Does that become more predictable?
Obviously, for example, if you look at the sponsors and the main sponsors, they're coming back every year. Really, most of them. So it's great. It's also the relationship we can build with them, and they're happy with the conference. So I would say it's easy to renew a client that has been with you 5 years, versus just getting a new one as big to work with you. So there are things that are easier, right? Because of the brand, because of the renewed audience, because of the renewed sponsors. But I would say overall, it's not getting easier. I have still the same stomachache and headaches. It's perhaps we're getting better, but it's not getting easier.
And you have to kind of be flexible, right? Because at the end of the day, like I think, and I did this. We partnered with you on Emergence, and I don't say this in a disparaging or pejorative sense. Clients like to be treated well. They want flexibility. They don't want to necessarily pick from the menu of options. They want bespoke, experiential packages, right? And so you have to meet them where they are. But and that it's not a challenge, but it's almost a creative opportunity to kind of build interesting things from the marketing inventory perspective, right? Like there's a lot of, but that's what they want. You don't, you kind of have to, you got to be creative,
And you need to understand the need, and the needs evolve, right? This year, I can tell you that the trend is because of a lot of the companies that are coming are MyCar compliant now. So they want to do branding. Last year, they didn't want to do branding. So some year it will be more networking. So you have also to tailor the event towards the evolution of this market.
So what's the landscape look like in Europe right now, and in France in particular? Do you feel in the wake of Mika more energy? I feel like the first year I went to Paris Blockchain 2 years ago, last year I missed it because I was sick. There was kind of this rivalrous sort of, is London going to be the crypto center, or is Paris going to be the crypto center of Europe? What's the landscape look like right now?
So I think, France is the HQ of, I think in Europe, of Circle, OKX, Crypto.com, Binance, and I'm sure I'm missing one or two. So some of the biggest players. So there is a good landscape. But, there's no more differentiation if you think about it because of MiCA, which is uniform. There's uniform approach to the regulation. Before that, there was a French-specific regulation, which was called the PSAN license. That one, it was perhaps at the forefront. So it was, sooner available than other jurisdictions. So it played in our favor. It's the reason why these big guys came in. But now I think it's leveling up the fact that MiCA is across Europe. But we have the specificity of Paris and France, besides the fact that we have some, good crypto companies, but overall, the brands and enterprise are playing the game. They're doing POCs, they're trying stuff. You have an amazing, ecosystem of engineers, and that's key. And you have venture capital now. It's recent, but over the last 3 or 4 years, there's a lot of outside, venture capital that came, and most of the big VC companies are investing in France now. So it makes Paris, a big, London will be better still for finance guys and finance focus. Berlin would be amazing for engineers. But I think Paris is a good mix between corporate engineers and the overall ecosystem.
You mentioned that every year is a little bit different. You have to sort of cater to not just new trends, but new client needs. What shall we expect for 2025?
Yeah, so it starts the day before. So it's interesting. This Bitcoin Investor Day we're doing with around, it's not that big, it's 1,000 people, but we do it in Palais Brongniart. Palais Brongniart is the former French SEC building. So it's a very nice wink of Bitcoin taking over the French SEC, kind of the old French SEC. And we have Adam Bach, opening it, and then there will be talks about Bitcoin Reserve, Bitcoin Treasury, and Bitcoin ecosystem as an investment. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be our first edition. And same thing for our Agent X Summit. We have the guys from ELISA, we have virtuals protocols coming, Base, and it'll be very focused on not only just AI agent for AI agents, but use cases, right? How do I move the needle already now? I want to implement an AI agent. How should I do it? Where can I find it? And how does that work? So I'm very looking forward for this event. That's perhaps the thing that excites me the most right now. And then, it's we need to, the standard is always, people expect you to do more. So our main conference, we expect 11,000 people. So it's even if it's like 20% more than last year, it's still a challenge that you need to do. Then we have an amazing VIP dinner under the pyramid. I don't know if you had a chance to come 2 years ago.
I did, yeah, I did.
So we have some new surprises on that, and we do our closing party at the Moulin Rouge. So it's something that you should attend. So it's going to be quite a lot of fun.
No, I mean, I think a huge component of what makes it interesting is the different venues, obviously are unparalleled. There's also a huge focus, I feel like, on new founders, on entrepreneurs. What emergent sectors do you see coming through the applicants, and what advice would you give founders entering Web3?
Yeah. So wow, that's a big question. So the last day to apply is actually today. So I have not looked yet at the flow, but I think we're expecting over 900 to 1,000 applications like last year, which is crazy when you think about it.
That's actually insane. But okay, but how many of them are just kind of like, I'm sure like
300, you can put them away.
Okay.
To be honest. But we have, what drives their excitement is that we have the largest prize pool ever, not only in crypto, but we offer $10 million in prizes. That's huge when you think about it. It's coming from foundations, it's coming from cloud companies, it's coming from VCs. So it's kind of very exciting for the startups to apply. And actually, it's the way we do it. So basically, we get everything in an Airtable, and we classify by blockchains they're working on, by stage of the company, by industry they're tackling, etc. Then we open it to some friendly VCs, and all the ticket holders. So sorry, to narrow it down to 100, but then all the ticket holders for Price Blockchain Week as an investor can then vote for the top 100. And on D-Day, which is on the April 10, there will be a jury, and there will be pitches, and then we will nominate the top 3 with some surprises also that will come that day. Last year it was pretty cool with Tim Draper. We'll have some new surprises this year.
So what's the top prize? Like, how does it work? Is there...
You apply, you send your deck. It's pretty simple. You put your deck. We have VCs and partners like checking it. Then you get another opportunity to put a video or give more content about your company. But you have also, I think 10% of the note is how good you are in marketing yourself also, which is a large part of Web3. So we wanted to give also, a push to the people that know how to leverage Web3 marketing. So 10% of the note will come from, how popular is their tweet when they mention they're applying to the competition, for example.
Are there terms to the money? Like, who has ownership? Is there like
So the company that offer the prizes, they can choose in between the top 10 to which one they want to give it. It not necessarily goes to the number one, but they're allowed to choose among the 10 who they want to give the money to.
and then they take like an equity position?
It's either equity, but when it's foundation, it's grant. It's non-dilutive.
Oh, I see.
That's the best.
That's great. That's super cool. And then, so for firms that like, when you think about new entrepreneurs coming to market, what advice would you give to a new founder entering crypto aside from attend the conference?
No, I mean, you should be like always be networking like crazy, right? You should be, because everybody is there. I mean, if you're not successful, while you pitch 50 people in 3 days at least, then you have a problem. But sometimes it's good to know that we have a problem, right? You don't want to have a zombie company. You want to know early if you need to pivot, for example. So I would say you should pitch like crazy, but also if you target someone specific for a good reason, hey, I want to talk to the guy from Eliza because my virtual agent needs blah, 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 then you get an opportunity to go there, to meet him. So just be mad, but okay, when he's speaking, can I grab him? Or is he going to another side event? Can I take 2 minutes with him, etc.? So have an agenda on who you want to meet, mention it to other people so they can help you, and just have your pitch super nailed down. It's a conference, it goes fast. It's not even 30 seconds. You should raise interest in 20 seconds. And for that, you need to have the right keywords and you need to prepare it, right? Shake hands, take the telegram, show the excitement.
What's the biggest mistake a founder can make in their pitch?
Oh, not being clear. Just that. That's the biggest one. If I can't understand it in 20 seconds, then
you're going to lose me.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And for me, I'm ADHD, so it might be 5 seconds, but
yeah, I think that's clear. I think typically, or a lot of the time, founders get really caught up in trying to explain the totality of what they're doing versus kind of narrowing in on a very specific, almost like metaphor or easy to understand,
I'm the Uber for metaverses, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So, looking back, like anything you would have done differently in your journey in crypto, what are some of the lessons learned?
Besides buying more early and not selling half my crypto in 2016, right? So besides that, right?
Aside from that, we've all been there.
No, I mean, we can improve on everything for sure. If I had ways, for example, you were mentioning not having a media, right? So we are one of the rare conference where we don't have a media. We have to fight for every click on every post. That's tough. So perhaps, and each year we say, oh, it's too late if we start a media now from scratch. It's too much work. We won't go anywhere. But if we did it 4 years ago and we were thinking about it, we might have done something today. So it's perhaps my frustration would be we have an amazing relationship with our partners and our speakers, but we talk to them kind of once per year.
Yeah. How do you open up the dialogue? Yeah.
We need to have a constant discussion, whether it's by having other smaller dinners or activities throughout the year, but also talking to them through a media, or whether it's a podcast, whether it's I don't know what form. But that's perhaps the frustration that something we should have built since day one.
Yeah, because it's like it really is, a touch point that's once a year. Obviously, you're having calls with sponsors and clients leading up to it and sort of, ironing out the details. But yeah, maybe you got to bring PBW to different cities and have little tiny mini PBWs.
Yeah, it's
find the French restaurants within New York or within London and
the Eiffel Tower in Vegas, right?
Yes, exactly. That's brilliant. But do you reckon, I feel like I hear a lot of folks talking about how they really want those more intimate, smaller opportunities. And that's what I'm hearing a lot from. Even when we were doing our event, I was like, it's 1,500, 2,000 people. Like, I really want that 200, 300 person event.
That's true. For example, a couple of weeks ago, we had a small event at the French Senate. It was 120 people, but we have the General Petraeus as a speaker, former director of the CIA. So it was for our AI event. As you perhaps know, we also are doing an AI event in July. And it was very intimate, but super good connections. It wasn't a very long speech. It was like a 20-minute speech, then networking opportunities in a small setting. So this has a good impact. We should do more, and in different locations for sure.
It'll be interesting to see. All right. So just thinking about rest of the year, obviously you're excited for the event. What else is interesting you for 2025?
So it's our second event. So actually, we also use our Paris Blockchain Week and the fact that we're bringing so many people. 11,000 are coming to the conference, but then there's tens of thousands that are not buying the tickets, but still coming to Paris and going to other side events. So we use also this as a platform. So last year, the platform, we use it to create the Raise Summit event for the first time, which is an AI-focused conference. And actually, we smashed it. We had Shamat Papatia coming with the founder of Grok, founder of Perplexity. And for the first time, for a 1,600 people event, it was amazing. And we decided to spin it off. And now it's going to be a major event, 6,000 people in July. And for us, it's, the second year is very important because you're bringing it by, 5x more people. And we try to be, one of the best, if not the best AI conference also in the world. So that's our big challenge also for 2025. And I would say 2026 would be about geographical diversification.
I think it would be very the spirit of the conference and of France to keep Paris Blockchain Week in the name, even if it's in a different city. Paris Blockchain Week, Dubai, Paris Blockchain Week, New York, Paris Blockchain Week, Austin.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. I think it actually sounds. I think it's a good idea. It's exactly what I would do if I was in your shoes.
Okay. If we do it, then I'll treat you well at a good restaurant.
Parfait. Merci beaucoup. Okay. Well, where can folks learn more if they want to attend or if they want to partner? Where shall we point them?
ParisBlockchainWeek.com. AMARMIC is my Twitter handle. Michael Amar at Gmail. I'm giving my Gmail, which is my main mail. That's fine. And I'll route you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. And, we're looking forward to being there. And thanks for taking the time.
Happy to host you.
Thank you. Missy. Mm-hmm.